All right, let's start. Yeah, I can see that.
Like a diamond from gold. Maybe you are something I cannot define. Maybe you are the fallen kind. I live there with violence, the silent side of me. We see where fire starts to breathe. When I would lay in silence, the voice inside of me made me use my mind right. Use my mind right. Use my mind right. Lost in the moment, I found myself. Do you ever wanna turn back time? I never even got to say goodbye. When I would lay in silence, the voice inside of me made me use my mind right. Use my mind right.
Yeah, Timon, the Teams is not working. Surprise, shocker. Hello, everyone. How are you all doing? This is Coach Kangas here, and Coach Timon on this beautiful Friday. Timon, say hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me? Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you as well.
Can you hear me?
If you're out there, if you are on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, if you could give us a little comment, say hello to us. Also, If you want to, like I said, we're streaming right now on YouTube. We're streaming on my Facebook, and then I think we're streaming possibly on Instagram, maybe not. So if you can hear us, please put it in the comments so that way we know that we're not just talking and nobody can hear us. Wow, can't wait. Dinesh Karki. I wonder who that person is.
Oh, he's here.
Yeah, he says, I can't wait. Dinesh, we are having a little coffee with the coaches today, y'all. So we decided, since there is no school today, we were still going to host a little something virtual for you all. But we're going to do something we've actually have never done before. Usually we do some programming, or, I give a presentation, or Coach Timon gives a presentation. But today we decided to do something we've never done before, and that is coffee with the coaches. All right. So we're going to pretend that we're in a coffee shop, and me and Coach Timon are just hanging out like we would on a Friday. We probably wouldn't be hanging out in a coffee shop actually on a Friday, but just pretend we are. And while you're pretending that, I actually have to go get my coffee. So Timon, if you want to say a couple of things while I go get my coffee, all right?
Oh, okay. Yes, I will say a couple of things while he gets his coffee. Well, I don't have coffee, but I do have Prime. Put it in the chats. Put it in the comments if you know what this is. This is a Glowberry Prime right here. This video is not sponsored by Prime. I wish it was. But this Glowberry right here, y'all. This Glowberry, something else. It is, I don't know if there's a fruit named Glowberry, but I think it's guava. That's what it's made of. Guava. Only 25 calories and 0 fat. Protein 0 total.
Are you
carbs.
like selling Prime online, or what's going on here?
This is what you got to look out for the drinks, y'all. Look, added sugar. Yo, added sugar. If it's at 0, then you know that drink is healthy. 0% added sugar.
All right. I got my coffee. I got my mic. And I think I have my brain intact, hopefully, as much as I can on a Friday. All right. How are you all doing? Put it in the chat right there. We got 18 people that are watching. Put it in the chat if you can. How's your day going today? Is it going good? Is it going fantastic? Is it going crappy? I don't know, because I don't know how your day went, but I'd like to know, right? So put it in the chat. The way we're going to do this is we have asked some of our Thrive students during the week to give us some good and interesting questions we could ask each other, almost like if we were having coffee with them. And then we're going to just have a conversation about those questions. If at any point, those of you that are virtually on YouTube or wherever you're watching us from, if you have a question for me or Coach Timon or the both of us, you can really ask any question except like maybe think about a question that would be able to help you, in some sort of way, or help other people. So we got some people saying, Max Mill says, I'm doing good. All right. You? Somebody's name is you. I thought that was me. Is it me or is it you?
That reminds me of that song.
What? What song?
You. In that song. You don't know that song?
Have you ever watched that movie, Rush Hour, with Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker?
Who has not? If you're Asian and you've not watched that, come on. Are you really Asian? Are you?
Have you seen the? Is it the third one or the second one?
It's the
one where he meets the big tall karate guy.
It's the third. It's the third one. It's the third
The
one.
third one? Remember when he goes into JoJo and he's like, "Hey, where are you?" He's like, "I'm not you. I'm me. No, I'm me. Who are you? That's you. That's."
I am me and he is you.
All right. Dinesh says, Coach Timon without coffee or chai. Come on, Coach. Dinesh said that.
I have a wife. I can.
Later on, if you want, maybe if the people on the internet want it, because we see your beautiful little daughter,
Oh.
Aaliyah. If people want to see
She
her.
here during the prep. She's here.
She was here. She was getting virtually prepped for all of us. All right. So with that said, let's get this party going. Coach Timon, What is the first question?
Let's get this party going. Do you have the virtual wheel? So when I say the name, you could just add their name right there.
Oh, yeah. So if you are a Thrive student, if you could please put your name, if your name is different on virtual than it is in real life, you know, because I've been seeing some of your guys' name like you. I mean, maybe that is somebody's name. I shouldn't even make fun of that. But I see some of you like Karen Girl or, you know, Sweet Nepali Boy. If that is not your real name, but you go to Thrive, please put down your real name in the comments. Because if you go to Thrive, we're going to put your name on the wheel. Y'all know the wheel, right? Right here. We're going to put your name on the wheel. And at the end, we're going to spin it. And when we spin it, if it lands on your name, you get to win 1,000. No, I'm just joking. No, $25, all right? You're going to get to win $25. So if you are a student that goes to one of our Thrive schools, sorry, Dinesh. You have graduated already, so you cannot win the wheel. Although you'd be making money now. You're a working adult now. Doesn't he have a job? Does Dinesh have a job?
I don't know what he has these days. He's still going to Europe. You know, he's enjoying his life.
Because you don't got no kid. You know,
Yeah.
and wait until that happens. Are you the only one of your friends that has a child?
Yep, I have a child.
That you're aware of?
and I'm the youngest one in my friend group. You know. And they all
One of
believe
them
in
needs
this.
to get married and have a kid, so y'all can go on double dates and your kids could grow up together. Who's it gonna be? Who's it gonna be? No,
Right
they
now,
just
I don't-
they're
maybe
living their
Dinesh-
best life right now.
Maybe
Dinesh?
Dinesh is next. Yeah.
We shall see. We shall see. All right. So we got I got some people that are giving me their names. So Thing's on here. I'm gonna add the name. Let me add some of these names of the people that are actually logging in. So just by logging in, you all are going to get your name on the wheel. And hopefully you get win $25. Gene is on here. Mary. Dinesh is doing his masters. That's what he said, Tyman.
Oh yeah, he is doing his.
Come on, he's doing something with his life.
Yeah.
Again, if you are a student that attends Thrive Club, please put your name on there. We got Huzna. Oh, Huzna's on here.
Miss
and Aisha.
Faizizi.
And Aisha. All right, Huzna and Aisha are in the house. You know what? I'm going to put Dinesh on here just because, you know what? He's getting his master's. He's doing something with his life. I'm going to put him on here just in case. You know what, Dinesh? Maybe you could donate that money back to Thrive, okay? Maybe we could give it to you, you give it back to us. All right, that's enough. If we choose your question, all right, if you were a student in Thrive this week and we choose your question, we're going to give you, what did I say, Timon? 1, 2, 3 names?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's go 5.
5 extra names?
5.
Dang. All right, let's do it. All right, what is the first question?
Here we go. Here's the first question. You would answer it better than me. It is from Nathan Hill. Nathan Hill, and this question is from A Mu Shi. It's a good question.
Amushi.
Said, what was one of the hardest obstacle you had to overcome when the Thrive Club started?
What was one of the hardest obstacles that I had to overcome when the Thrive Club first started? That's a great question. In 2011. So we started Thrive. Holy moly. In a few days, I think February 6th. So next week. Oh, we got to remember this, Timon. Next week is our birthday. Next week is Thrive's birthday. We are turning 13 years old. We're a teenager finally. Oh my goodness. Thrive is going to be a teenager. And it's giving me headaches just like a teenager too. So it's right in line. It's right in line with the time, right? So when we first started Thrive in 2011, the greatest challenge, I think for me, with the greatest challenge, personally for me, it was to balance Thrive and then also my full-time job. So I had another job that I was doing. I worked for a foundation called the Avenue Scholars Foundation, and we help students. And I had a class. I actually taught a class, 2 classes in the high school. And so it was just trying to figure out because I just gotten that job. So, you know, imagine like you just barely get a full-time job. And then on top of that, you know, they say, okay, well, here's another 10 extra hours that you have to put into your job. But because I loved this so much, it didn't feel like work. And it actually, sometimes, you know, sometimes some things happen and, you know, you've heard me say this before, Timon, too. Sometimes things happen in your life. And at the start, at first, you're like, dang, why is this happening? Or it's kind of a little like you go maybe through some difficulty in your life, but then it prepares you later on, but you don't know how it's preparing you because initially everybody that I worked with in my job, like they all just did the job that I did during the day, but none of them had Thrive, like a Thrive type of program. And so I felt at first I kind of felt like it was unfair because I was like, dang it, I got to do this thing. But then it became something I really loved and wanted to do. And now that now that I own my own company and I do speaking and I do Thrive, I think it helped me because I'd done that for so long. Like for so long, I had a full-time job and I would do Thrive. So when I started my company of speaking, it was just a no more transition, you know? So that was for me personally. But I think also just one of the challenges was I just, we had a lot of self-doubt. Like we didn't know if kids were going to actually like to come to Thrive, you know, with something new. Nobody knew about it. And so we were just scared that like kids were going to be bored and they didn't want to come. But that ended up not happening, you know. A lot of kids enjoyed it. They really connected with it and benefited a lot from it.
Yeah, benefited a lot, which is why I'm here right now, holding this microphone. Benefited me a lot. I remember, I remember Coach Kangas. He used to drive this. It was his dream car. Now that I learned it,
Oh,
it's a
yeah.
blue car, and we used to have like officer dinners, and the other coaches would take like 4 students, 3 students, and he would take he'd take one student in his little car, and it was like a pedal shift car too. Like it was like, like that.
It was a very nice car. It was my dream car, Timon.
It was a
But it was
scary
like
car.
a small little car. Remember that? It was like a nice little small little sports car. Who asked that question?
Amushi.
A Mushi. I got
Amushi asked that question.
okay. I'll put them down for 5 times. All right. What's the next question?
The next question is going to be. Let me go with somebody from Central. Ooh, that's a good question. What was one of the most lasting impressions of college on you?
I'll let you answer first.
What was one of the most lasting impressions of college on you? For me, one of the most lasting impressions was the fact that I graduated from college. I still cannot believe that I graduated from college because
Yeah.
we've trained our brains like, oh, okay, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, and our parents, like especially if you're immigrant or refugee, your parents tells you every day, go to school, go to school, go to school, go to school, go to school. Well, if you graduate college, that's like the end of school, unless if you're Dinesh Karki, you go get a master's. But
All right.
to be able to be where I'm at right now, and I drive past my college now, in Dodge Street, UNO, and I just look at it, and I say like I graduated from that place. That's just the lasting impression, Just said like I am done. I'm done with college, and all the experiences. Number one lasting impression is I studied abroad in Europe, and that was one of the best things that I could have ever done. Just to travel the world, see other cultures, see other experiences. That was a lasting impression.
Yeah. I feel like that. I feel like you grew a lot from that experience, right? When you went to study abroad. Because you went to tell us a little bit more about that. Like you went with some friends. You went to Hungary.
I went with that guy actually right there, Dinesh. We went.
This
I
guy
went
right
with
here?
a group of friends. Yeah, four people. We just decided, hey, like let's just go, and we didn't have any like dorms or anything. We like joined a Facebook group chat and randomly like texted a guy like, "Hey, we're coming to study abroad. Like, do you have an apartment?" Kind of sketchy. We lived in an Airbnb for like 5 days, and then we went met with this random stranger in a random country, and he was like, "All right, here's the apartment." We didn't even know if it was his apartment. We just knew he had the key, and then he made us sign a contract.
Dang.
But hey, it all worked out. We had a nice apartment, nice duplex flat, in the middle of the city, for 6 months. And then we would go out every weekend to a different country because in Europe, uh, if you travel to like Germany from another country, it's like $12, $10, $20 in the airplane too. So it was a fun experience to meet new people, to go to different places.
Where did you
to
go? What
try
are
their
some countries
food.
that you went to?
I went to Germany. I went to Spain. I'm a big
Wow.
soccer fan, so I got to watch Real Madrid, my team. But the only sad part is I just reminisced about the GOAT, about my guy just playing there. Because I went there 2019, and Ronaldo, my GOAT, my guy, he left in 2018. So when the
Ah,
players were there,
no.
I
So
could see them live.
one year
Yeah,
after.
I could see them live, and I would just imagine like, oh my goodness, Ronaldo did all the things here in this stadium. But then I got to see all the other my idols of soccer in Real Madrid. So it worked out. So Spain, Greece, um, I went to Montenegro. Just a lot of
What
places. I
was
think I went
what was
over.
a country in Europe that you were like, dang, I could see myself maybe moving there one day? Like if you could choose any country that you visited and you had to choose, what country in Europe do you think you'd move with or move to?
I don't know. Dennis might say a different answer, but for me,
Dinesh said
it,
right now that it was $24 from Hungary to Germany.
yeah, it was 24.
What?
It was $24.
$24? Dang.
Um, but
That's
for
cheap.
me, but for me, it was one of the trips that I went to with one of my friends that I met a friend from Hong Kong, and he kind of looked like if y'all see his face, he kind of looks like me. My friends, they make fun of me, like we kind of look each other. We kind of had similar characteristics, like we were both quiet, and then we're both like we had. And I met that guy, and then he was like, "Hey, like let's go to Montenegro." And I went with three of my other friends to Europe, but then I went to Montenegro just with him, and he's from Hong Kong. Like he traveled to Europe everywhere, and then we kind of went ourselves. It was in May, and that country, Montenegro, it was beautiful. Like it was a coastal city with the ocean right next to it. It was cheap. The food was good, and they were like it was like the cat capital of the world. There were cats everywhere, and it
Mhm.
was a good experience. I think I would definitely see myself living in Montenegro. Definitely.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
We have a few questions that people are coming in from here. Dinesh asked a question. You know what? I'll save this one for you. So for me, my lasting impression, something that made a really lasting impression for me in college is I joined a fraternity. So my junior year, if for anybody that doesn't know, a fraternity is like it's like a club, like an organization, but it's a little bit deeper than that. You really make some strong connections, and usually it's just like all guys and all girls. So I joined a fraternity my junior year, and I feel like that was really a big lasting impression because I got to develop friendships there that I still have to this day. You know, it's been almost 16 years. No, 15 years since I graduated college, and there's still friends that I made during college through my fraternity that I still have to this day. So that was one, and then I think just every summer I would do like an internship, and I think I don't know where I got that idea, but it's probably one of the most powerful things that I actually did in college. You know, after every summer I would do an internship, which an internship is something that you go out and do like some work that you do, but it's not just the purpose of it is not just to get paid, but it's to try to figure out what you want to do. And the internship I did, the one that had the lasting impression on me was my junior year. After my junior year, I went to Washington, D.C. and I had this internship where I worked in a congressman's office, and I worked with other interns there. In fact, my roommate at the time, it was 2008. So my roommate was working in Senator Obama's office. So right before he was, running for president, he was working in his office, and it was just a really cool experience because I got to live in Washington D.C. for 2 years, or for 2 months, sorry, and then I got to like talk to senators and representatives, and I think it really started to develop an idea in my mind that, man, I could talk to anyone. Like I can connect with anybody, because if I can connect, like I'm some kid from Nebraska, right? If I can connect with senators and representatives and have intelligent conversations with them, then I could connect with anybody. Because, sometimes you like think, oh, wow, like senators or representatives or the president or this, this person over here, they're so high up there. Like there's no way I could even talk to them. But then you have conversations that are like, they're just a human being. They're just a person like me. They have desires, they have dreams, they have challenges. And so, I think there's nothing like experiences in college to be able to make you feel, to help like build new strong beliefs inside of you. I'm sure, like, when you went to study abroad, that was probably one of the first times in your life that you went out, right? And you were like away from home and away from your parents. And I mean, you dormed in college, but even then you were close, like in the same city. So I'm sure there were some things in you that were like, okay, man, I like to travel, one, and I can be independent. And were there any other beliefs that kind of formed as you had that experience that shaped you a lot?
So if you're the youngest and you come from an immigrant and a refugee and a migrant background, and you're youngest, you don't have to do anything in the house. Your brother, your sister, your mom does it for you. They cook for you. All you gotta do is clean up once your mom yells at you like 5 times. I had that going up until I started living on my own in college, in the dorms, and when I went study abroad. My friends, Dinesh, he's really good. He's the oldest in his house. He's very good cook. He taught me how to cook and stuff like that. So you learn stuff like that you don't learn inside in the classroom too. When you start living outside, you become responsible for your own life, your own body, your own clothes, and all that stuff. You get to grow
You
up.
start to feel more like independent, right? Like,
Yeah,
okay, I'm starting to grow up. I'm not just that little Asian kid, that. All right. I have some questions online here. Gio, who is your number one fan apparently, because he says Timon is the man.
Oh, Gio's on here. Hey,
Gio's on there.
What's up?
He said his question was, where do you want to travel where's somewhere you would love to go travel that you've never traveled to before? Like, what's a country you'd love to go travel?
My country that I always wanted to travel, but I could not. I even made plans for it, but the pandemic happened and everything shut down. And that country took special care of their citizens. They didn't open that country when all the other countries were open. And that country is what I like to call the Asians among Asians, the epitome of Asians. They're all white.
I know it.
They're
South
smart.
Korea?
Oh, you guessed it. South Korea. They got the companies, Hyundais, Kias. They got the soccer team. Actually, the Asian Cup is happening right now. They just beat Australia, and they are into the semifinal. That's the Asian World Cup, in case if you didn't know. So yeah, South Korea. I mean, they got the culture. It's a tiny country, but they have so much culture, history, and I always wonder why Nepal.
Are they like are other like Asian countries envious of them?
Yeah.
Would you say?
I mean, yeah. Yeah,
They're like, damn.
One of the global world powers. They got Samsung. Like, everybody uses Samsung.
Yeah, they got the K-pop.
The K-pop,
the most famous K-pop.
Yeah, if they were bigger, like if they were united, North and South, that would be even.
Hey, so, Talisa's on here. What's up, Talisa?
Lisa's on here too. Hey,
yeah,
Talisa.
She says some of my favorites. Love. Man, I love working with Talisa. I hope that we get to work with you. I hope we get to work with you again this summer, Talisa. Although in different circumstances than maybe a previous summer.
I will never forget Talisa, because Talisa, when I went to Starbucks, I said, "Hey Talisa, what do you want?" I still have that text. Talisa sent me a paragraph.
Like a very like all these specifications.
I didn't
Like,
even
I
say
want-
it to the Starbucks.
I want a
lady,
little bit
just
of
showed it.
I want a little bit of whipped cream, but not too much. But and then only like 3 pieces of ice cubes and. Yeah, she said she's laughing. She's like, "Dang, that's messed up. Why you putting me on blast?"
They won't know.
You know, whenever I go to Starbucks, I always get what is that with the ice? I always get how's that specification? Like not a lot of ice, basically. I'm
Light
like
ice.
little light ice, yeah, light on the ice. Because like I don't know if I just want to take full advantage of that coffee or whatever, but like I remember when I first ordered just a regular iced coffee in Starbucks, and it was literally like half of it was just ice, and I was like, "What the heck, man? Like, what the heck am I paying for? Like these $8." So, all right. So, what's another question, Timon?
Another question. Well, let's take a break from because we asked 2 student question. We said we want to ask some questions that we've never really wanted to ask. We've really wanted to ask actually. So my question to you
To each other?
yeah, to each other.
Oh, so it's the coach's challenge questions.
It's the coach's challenge question. So
All right,
heard that
the
music.
coach
So-
challenge questions. This is a
Coach
question that we've
challenge.
always wanted to ask each other that we've never ever asked each other. Okay, you want to go first, Timon? Because I still have to think about my
Yes.
question.
my question to you is, since we were talking about the beginning of Thrive, 2011, and you've been with Thrive since 2000. You're one of the founders. All the founders, all the old coaches that I know have left and they're doing other things. And now I know because you've had this opportunity, and you're now at a position, like you've been doing it a while. You've been doing it a while, and you're at a position like you've had opportunities where you could just tell yourself, okay, I'm done with Thrive. Like I don't want to do it anymore. And you can, and you make that income to not do Thrive anymore. So why do you still do it? That's the question.
It's a good question. Yeah, I mean, I'm in a place right now. You're right. I don't, Thrive is not my main source of income. It's not like where, it doesn't help me pay the bills. And so it's an interesting circumstance in my life because, and I hope everybody gets to experience this at one point where they're doing some work, but they don't have to do the work to survive. Right. And then you start to evaluate to like, okay, why do I want to do it? Like if it's not about the money, then what is it about? And I think for me, the thing that the reason I still continue to do Thrive and try to help it grow and build, I just love seeing the growth in students. I get to go around the country and speak. Like I was just in Phoenix yesterday, and I got to speak for in front of like around 1,600 students. But a lot of those students I'm never gonna see again. I'm never gonna be able to develop a relationship with and see them grow over 4, 5, 6, 7. Now that we have middle school students, like there's literally students that I've seen grow for 7 years. Like I met them in 6th grade. And there was these shy little middle schoolers that were insecure about themselves or didn't kind of have a path in life, and now they've blossomed and flourished and thrived into these wonderful young adults. And some of it, Thrive was helpful in helping them that. And it's not just, I'm not just saying it's just Thrive, but it's that journey. It's seeing the students grow throughout the journey, and I love that. Like I think if I just spoke, across the country, like I think a part of me would be fulfilled, but not everything about me would be fulfilled because I didn't know I was gonna really want that, and that's why I continue to do it because like to see people like you that have grown, found a passion for themselves, and started working on those skills. there's story after story after story. There's student after student after student over the years. I mean, we've, done programming for thousands of students now. There's literally thousands of students in our community that I mean, one of my favorite things is I love like going to Walmart or to the Asian market, for sure the Asian market. And they're literally it's like, it's very rare that I go out and I don't see one of my students. In fact, sometimes I'm like, I don't really want to talk to anybody. So I see one of my students, I'm kind of hide a little bit. It's just one of those days, but most often like it brings joy to see my students and that I had, a few years ago and catching up with them and see how their life is. It's just a joy. It's a real joy. And I think that's what life's about for me. Life is about seeing people grow and having relationships with them that help them grow. Having meaningful relationships. And you can't have meaningful relationships where you just see that person one day. Like there's value in that as well. I love doing it. I love speaking. I think there's a purpose to being a motivational speaker and inspiring that flame, but you need adults to keep the flame, right? Like when you start a fire, you got to have other people bring some wood every once in a while because the fire will burn out. And it's like, I love being part of the people that grow the fire, and people and see them grow. So that's why, I do it but yeah, it's really interesting when you no longer have to do a job for money and then you just choose to do it. And then you think about like some of the people, and I'm not saying I'm that but like Jeff Bezos, like the dude has billions of dollars, one of the richest people in the world. And he left Amazon, but the reason he left Amazon is because he has another company, right? Blue Origin. And I just heard him on a podcast and he was talking about how now he's working more than he's worked before. Like before at Amazon, he kind of had things figured out at that time. And now he's working way more because he's starting something new again, right? Like Blue Origin. And I mean, he's not starting it new, but it's not to the level of Amazon. And he's like, I'm working harder now than I've been working for the last few years. And I was like, that's crazy. Like this guy could literally go buy, he probably owns an island already, right? On his private yacht and be like, I'm just chilling for the rest of my life. And I'm sure he like relaxes and chills out in his life. But I mean, he decided that is, once you make a certain amount of money and you're taking care of yourself and your family, then that's where it gets really fun because then you get to choose, you get to decide like, where do I want to spend my time? And I wish that upon everybody, like I have that freedom today to choose kind of what I do with my time. And sometimes I still stress myself out. Like I'm like, because you care so much, like when you really care about something, it is going to stress you out a little bit. Like if you don't want to ever have stress in your life, don't ever freaking care about anything. Right? Like don't ever care about anything. Just be like, it doesn't really matter if it works out. But if you really care about something, sometimes it stresses you out in a good way. So that is my question. All right. Your question, Timon.
Oh, question. Do I get a music?
Your question. The question is, can you remember the moment? Like, so I know that you sometimes talk about when we went out to eat some tacos. I think you were junior or sophomore in high school, and you asked me about my job. You did a job shadow. Mm-hmm. But was there a moment where you were like, this is what I want to do? Like, I want to be a public speaker. I want to be a facilitator. Like, can you remember the moment?
Actually, I can.
What was the moment?
So sometimes we tell ourselves, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. And that's what I told myself because I really wanted to do it. Like, this is what I wanted to do. And I told Coach Kangas when I was a junior, like, I want to do what you do. And I told myself that, and I was working towards that. High school, senior year, high school, freshman, sophomore, junior year, and I still interned with Thrive. And I had a lot of speaking and facilitating experience, but in my mind, I still knew Like there was a part of me inside of me, like I don't know, like I don't know, I don't think I would be able to do this. I
Hmm.
don't think I'll be able to do this. And now that part, I don't have that part in my brain now. And when it changed, it just recently changed. After I graduated college, I knew I had the skills to do it, but I needed the belief. I didn't have the belief. And everybody around me, like my mentor here and the other mentors, they would tell me like you're good. Like they would see me like do my thing with the students, and they'd be like, oh, like you're good, like you're natural, you know. But then I would tell myself inside, I'm still not good enough, and I needed that. I was looking for something like a validation within myself, and then it happened
Hmm.
over the summer. I was doing a camp with the company that has signed me now, Cool Speak, the youth engagement company where Coach Kangas works too. And I was given an opportunity, and I didn't take it at first, right? It was a summer camp, and each day they needed a speaker. And it was like a group of 150 kids, students that did not look like me. That was all, they were all from Latin America, parts of South America, and it was near the border too. And they were looking for a speaker to do during a specific day. And at first I said no, and then something just told me the night before just to like go up to the lead facilitator and say, hey, I want to do that keynote. And I said I want to do that keynote, and then I went and I did it. And it was not only those 150 kids, it was like 12 speakers and facilitators just watching me do my thing.
The
And
pressure was on.
pressure was on. It was my to do or die moment, and I did it. I rocked it out. I got some fantastic feedback from speakers that were speaking from, like, 60, 30 years. Like I got experience. And then I knew with the the feedback that I got from the students and the feedback that I got from the facilitators that, oh, I can do this. And I
Hmm.
got to see other facilitators and other speakers, where they're at in their level over the summer of all the summer last year. And I was like, okay, I have what it takes, and I know I can do this. And that's when that belief changes. And when that belief changes, then it just becomes normal. You still get scared sometimes, Coach Kangas will tell you that, but I still get
Yeah.
scared a lot. But then, like, I know I can I can rock it out, with a group of students. So that's when it changed, that belief right there. Even if you have the skills, sometimes students and people who are listening, you need that belief. If you don't believe in yourself, then the skills won't help you. It will help you a little
Yeah.
bit.
I agree with that. And it's also like, well, how do you grow that belief, right? I think some
Mm-hmm.
people say, well, I'll, when I get ready, when I feel ready, then I'll do it. Like when I feel like I can practice my speech and I've done, some practicing, then I'm going to go out and do it. But I mean, at a certain point, you don't grow your belief by just thinking about it or practicing. It's about going out and performing and doing it in those moments where things could go either way, right? Like you could either rock it out and do really well or bomb and then you have a new belief. You're like, oh my goodness, I can't do this, right? And that's what life's about. I mean, life's about those moments. Like if you
Mm-hmm.
want to take no risks in life, then I mean, I think that's the ultimate risk, right? It's taking no risks. It's never trying. Now you got to prepare. I mean, you had your speech prepared. You've been working with you young people for a big
Mm-hmm.
part, like a few years then. So it wasn't like you just went out and like hadn't had any experience. But at certain moments, yeah, you're right. Like where the pressure's on, and then if you could perform, you almost like prove to yourself that I got what it takes. I
Mm-hmm.
got what it takes. Awesome. Okay, what's another question from the students?
Oh, another question is
Got
it's an
about
interesting
14
one.
minutes left.
14
Maybe two
minutes
more
left.
questions. Maybe two more questions. Choose two
All
more
right.
questions.
All right. We can take a question from the viewers too. So if y'all have any question that you want to ask each one of us, you can ask us or both of us. All right. So another question from Nathan Hill is from Nisha Sir. This is an interesting question. Did you and Coach Timon ever came to a disagreement? What is one thing you all,
Who's this?
Nisha Sir?
Nisa sir. Where are they?
Sir.
Where are they from again?
Nathan Hill.
Okay.
Nathan Hill, Nisa sir. He said, "Did you and Coach Timon ever come to a disagreement? And what is one thing you all don't like about each other?"
Dang, putting it out there, Nisa sir.
sir don't
I'm gonna
wanna
tell you
go
next time what I don't like about you. I mean, yeah, I think you and I, we have a lot of similarities. We have similar passions. I think I think with everybody, like wherever you work, it doesn't matter how much you like each other or how much you have in common. Like I think it's just part of life. You're gonna have some friction. You're gonna have some conflict. I think to expect you're never gonna have conflict in a relationship is a false expectation. Like even with your wife, right? Like you're married right now. You love her. Like you absolutely love your wife with all your heart. But there's still conflict, right? There's still times where you're like, oh, why did she do that? Or, oh, I wish she wouldn't have done that.
I love her,
And I
but
think,
I also don't want to see her, every day. I don't know what it is about. I don't know what happens when you get married. You get, I don't know. Okay, keep going on.
no. So to answer your question, yes, but it's not like, we get into fights or anything like that. I mean, like today we had a disagreement about something. I think, so yes, the answer is we do have disagreements, but I will say this. One of the reasons that our relationship has been able to work is mainly because of you. Because some people get sick and tired of me, hence why I'm single, but we'll talk about that later. But I think one thing that is good about you and I is that sometimes I'm like really fiery and I'm passionate about stuff and I get angry about some things, but you don't really take a lot of things personal, right? Like even like things I would have taken personal, you don't take as personal. And I'm glad because it's not personal. Like whenever I'm trying to tell you something about work, it's really work related. Like I hope you already know, hands down, like I love you. I feel extremely proud of who you are and the things that you've done. I hope you know that. But then with work related stuff too, like there's a certain standard. There's certain things that we have to do in order to keep this ship moving forward efficiently, right? And so I think because of that, I think, because you can move on from things. I don't think you don't really hold resentment, or at least you don't show it. Right. And I think we could just move on from things. Like we have some things that happen sometimes and then we just move on, and then we have some success with some other things. And then you move on. You don't hold on to things. So I think that's been what's been helpful for us. And
for me, the biggest thing is, like a lot of culture comes into aspect and how I was raised, and even though like, we work now and at the same place and and stuff like that, but I always recognize you as, like, I always call you coach, and never call you like Juan or like by your first name. So I
that'd
always
be
like
weird. If you call me Juan, I'd be
yeah,
like,
it'd be weird.
who you talking to?
Like that respect aspect, like that you're someone older than me, and you, even though you
Yeah, we're
yeah.
coworkers. I mean, we're coworkers now. We're not. It's not like I'm. I mean, I have like obviously through Thrive and through some of the camps that we do, where I'm bringing opportunities to you. But I mean, it's the same thing with my mentor. Like, we were just in Phoenix, and he gave me some feedback on like, hey, you need to do better in this area. And I think we have to have some of those relationships where, like, you know what, we got to take some of that feedback, especially when it's coming from someone that we know loves us, cares for us, wants the best for us. I think if it was old smoke, like on the street, someone, have you ever had anybody like ever give you advice, or like you didn't even ask for it? Like I remember I was like in the sauna a couple weeks ago, and some dude, like I was like, he's like, what'd you do today? Like for my workout. And I was like, oh, I did legs. He's like, okay, well you should do this next time. And I'm like, who the heck are you, bro?
Oh yeah.
I was
That
like,
happens.
nobody asked you for advice, but thank you for giving it, I guess, right?
Yeah, that happens a lot. I don't know if it happens in the Mexican culture, but it happens a lot in the Nepali culture. All
Everybody
of the
tells you
Nepali
how
uncles and
to what
aunties.
you
Yeah.
should do with your whole life, right?
Yep.
Hey, we got a question here. But so I would say, I'm not even gonna answer what I don't like about you because, um, that's such a negative question. I have to talk to Nisa. So, I will say something that I really like about you, and then something I know you're growing in. How about that? All right. Something I really like about you, Timon, is and I think I've told you this before. Like you're just consistent. Like you're like a steady ship. Like you're gonna get there, like because you're just steady. You're not too high and you don't get too low, right? And you're just steady and eventually that steady ship makes it to the location it needs to get to because you're not gonna let the waves of life get you too tumultuous to where you sink. And I think that's really, really important because, it's like life's gonna throw some challenges, some difficulties your way, especially people, right? Like I don't think I've ever seen you like super, super upset. Maybe I haven't been around you and your wife. Hopefully she's not watching. I'm just
Only my wife. Only my wife.
only your wife. She's the only one that knows how to press those buttons.
knows how to push all the buttons.
All the buttons at once.
Yeah. Once. Everything all at once. That movie.
Well, that's why that's why she brings the greatest joy because people that bring the greatest joy can have the potential to bring the. Let's stop before she listens to this coffee podcast and she's like, you know what? How about you no longer allowed to do Thrive? How about that? Something I know you're growing in is your time management. Or just being on time. Your name is literally what you are trying to do this year. Time on, be on time, which I am as well. I'm trying to. What about you? What's something you like about me and something that I'm trying to improve on?
Something that I like about you is that I don't know where you get your drive from or your passion from, but
Coffee.
coffee.
I need coffee to survive.
Coffee, that's it. Like I don't know how, but I know like most people. I can say this, like most people would not be able to like manage the schedule that you have. Like you like 2 days, like for the last 2 weeks you'd like go like out of state and then like you do a bunch of work for our nonprofit and then like you put in the time for yourself because we have this fitness group chat which I have failed this week. Well, maybe not. But I could see it. Like I don't know where you get the time or what is in your mindset that you just get in every day for yourself, for your body, and once you set a goal, then you do it. You find a way to do it, and that's what I love about you. Yeah. And
Thanks.
something that I know you're working on and growing on is I think your relationship with like with the people around you,
Mm-hmm.
relationship with the people around you, and how you can be towards them. Um, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Be more empathetic to the people around me.
mm-hmm.
Be more understanding. We both have a mutual friend that we love, Natty, Natasha Carizosa, and every time I get around her, just being around her, like it changes me, and that's what's got me to think about this goal this year of like, you just feel not only seen by her, but you also feel like you're not judged. And in fact, it's funny because when you're in that relationship with someone you feel like is not judging you, the best of you comes out, which is the opposite of what I think sometimes. Sometimes I think I have to like put my finger on people and be like, you got to get this stuff done. And it's the opposite because then people retract, right? Because that's what I do. Like when people are like, I mean, don't get me wrong. Sometimes you need people to be like, hey, come on, let's get it going here. But I think more often than not, people eventually get tired of that. I get tired of it. And then you need people in your life that are like, hey, I'm rooting for you. There's no judgment here. How can I support you?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not there yet. I want to improve on that in that area. All right. We got a question here online. Oh my goodness, 3 minutes. 3 minutes
3 minutes
left.
left.
It's
3
gone by
minutes left.
quickly. All right. This is Huzna's question. And all right, actually, Huzna and Aisha's. So the question is, what are your future plans or goals for Thrive Club, and how do you plan to achieve them? Well, about a year and a half ago, we decided we're trying to figure out, like, are we going to continue doing Thrive, or are we going to just kind of call it good and say, hey, we've done a really good job these last 12 years. It's time to end it, or 11 years. And about a year and a half ago, we incorporated Thrive. So meaning, like, now it's a nonprofit. So Thrive is its own nonprofit. So really my future plans are, to be able to fully fund a nonprofit organization that continues to serve young people from immigrant and refugee statuses, throughout the future of, in Omaha. And I'd like to grow it. Like, I'd love, like, man, if we have more money, we could hire more staff. I'd love to, start coaching programs with students. I'd love to go take students and do service projects abroad. Like, I would love to go to Nepal, take some, imagine that, taking some students from different countries to other countries that our students are from, so they could learn about that country, serve in that country. Those would just be some dreams that I would love to fulfill. Because it works. Like, it just, every time I think, like, man, what are we doing? Like, sometimes you're like, what is Thrive really doing? Like, what are we making a difference? And then you see students in the community, like, putting into action some of the things that we taught them. And you're like, okay, all right, this is working. So I think that would be my goal is, to have a fully financial and staff sustained organization that continues to serve students. I don't know if I'm ever, like, ambitious enough to maybe take it outside of Omaha, but for sure just to continue serving kids right here in Omaha. Because they're still students, right? I mean, it's like, last year, Timing, you started that mentoring program which Huzna, who's asked this question, is a recipient of the work that we did, right? Like, I think it's meeting students like Huzna and Aisha and other, some of the other Afghan students and the Karen students and the Nepali students that you're like, wow, like it's starting to make it makes a difference,
Yep. My plan and my goal is to stay with Thrive as long as possible. I don't know when that is, but yeah, stay with Thrive because I know what this club is. It's not just a club. Like, I was thinking about this the other day when I was driving, and I've never really left Thrive since I was in middle school. Like, I heard about Thrive in middle school when I was doing a program called similar to Thrive called Reach. They invited me to do like a 5-day camp, and then they invited me, hey, when you're a freshman in high school at Central High School, you should come to this club. And this will be exactly like that. And I went, never left since then because
That's true. You've done it for a long, long time.
so the plan is to do it for a long, long time because I love the club, love the students, I love what I do, and I love this city, which is expanding, by the way, making international airports, and soccer stadiums. So yeah, plan is to
It's a good
stay.
city. Like, it's underrated. I think Omaha's underrated. You visited places all around the world, and I've gone to, I visited over 34 different states, and I feel like, I mean, it's not the best place to live, but it's not what people think. I think when they think about, you live in Nebraska, like everywhere, I'm sure you've gotten this around the world too.
Yep.
When you tell them where you live in the U.S., they're like, Nebraska? Why? Like, what is going on there? And you're like, it's a good place to raise a family. It's a peaceful place. The traffic isn't too bad. I was just in Phoenix and the traffic was horrible. So you can make a world here. All right. Somebody asked another question, then we'll have one more student question real quickly. We'll do a round of questions, right? Just two more. Somebody said, what have you seen from previous Thrive members or former officers had done because how impactful Thrive has been to them? I will say this one thing here. Oops. I took away. Oh, hold on. I will say this. One time that I was like really proud of the work that we did in Thrive was I had this student many years ago. It's like one of the first Thrive students ever. Her name was Pabwe, is Pabwe too. She's still alive. And she invited me to come out. She's Karen, and she invited me to come out to like a community engagement day for a lot of the Karen students. And we met in this church. And basically what they were doing is they were going to have like some of the older Quran people, students that I had previously, and then some of the younger Quran students, and they were like doing these like proposals of how to impact their community. And I went there, and they were also going to have some food and things like that. So, I mean, I'm not saying that I just went for the food, but that's mainly what I went for. Because the food, I mean, one of the perks of working with students from other countries is that you get amazing food, right? But I went there and they were doing a lot of the things that we had shown them in our club. Like they were organizing, right? They knew how to structure the meeting so that people's ideas could come through. And that's what we did we do in Thrive, right? Like we do these projects, these community service projects to be able to serve our community. And they were doing that. So like these students that I had taught many years ago were now teaching other students to do this. And it was just like a moment where I was like, oh my God, like, because we do a lot of activities and things like that, and you, as a teacher and educator, you plant the seed, and you never know. Like sometimes you don't get to see the growth of that seed, and that was a moment where I got to see a growth of that seed, and I was like, wow. And another time is during the pandemic, I started an internship program with the Latino Center of the Midlands, and I hired some Thrive students and I hired some non-Thrive students, so students that just from the community. And as we were working, I realized that my Thrive students, they knew how to work better in a team. Like they knew how to work on projects better. They knew how to relate to others. They knew how to show up on time. Like it translated, like all these games and these things that we were doing in Thrive, it translated to the workforce. Like they were actually, I could tell the biggest difference. I could tell the difference like between this kid that had been trained to be a leader and this kid that had no training to be a leader yet. And I was like, wow, okay, we're not just playing games. Like this is actually affecting them in the future. And I could really tell. I was like, wow, because it's just like a practice. It's almost like sometimes the things that we do in Thrive, you're like, oh, it's just a game. It's just this thing over here. It's kind of like the Karate Kid, where it's like wax on, wax off, wax on, wax off. And you're like, what the heck are we doing? Are we just playing these games? Are we just like making up these activities or these projects? And it's like, no, we're doing the wax on, wax off. So that when you go into the workforce or in your community, you don't realize like, wow, I've been doing this thing that is a skill now that I have. And now I can actually use it to make money and to impact my community, So those were two great moments that I remember thinking, wow, we're actually making a difference.
Yep. And as a Thrive student and an officer and an intern and now like a coach and a full-time like worker now, like everything that I do like in my life, like personally, like I recently just opened like a business with my friends, and like the things that I learned of like little things like opening like different files and using different templates and using different
just like organization,
like meeting, like what you were talking about. I use it like, and it works, and so
yep.
It works.
Well, is there a burning question out there? Does anybody have one last question? Maybe we'll pick one more. Anybody out there that's got a really good question that we haven't answered yet? Or Tammy, you look through the questions right now, and then we'll answer one more question, and then we will spin the wheel. I mean, should we do you have to be here to win, or should we just...
I mean, if they ask the question, we put their name and we pick the question. So if they're not here, then...
Okay.
That's
all
a
right.
good question.
All right. Anybody got a good last question?
Last question.
And now, how did Coach Kangas go bald? Because That's a depressing question to ask.
uh,
Hey, I will have my braces off hopefully here in 2 months.
oh wow, it's already been
So
2 years.
yeah, it's already been 2 years in December. December was exactly 2 years, and then my orthodontist was like, "You still probably have another 4 months." I was like, "No."
Oh wow, you didn't take good care of them.
All right, we don't have anything online. Do you have anything, Timon?
Um,
Last question.
What is one thing on your bucket list, and why is it on your list?
one thing on my bucket list? So one thing that's on my bucket list is I haven't. Let me make sure this is correct. Yeah, I haven't taken a vacation with my dad as an adult. So like my dad lives in Mexico, and when I was growing up, I lived here in Nebraska. He lived in Mexico, and I would go, and we've taken like family vacations when I was little, but I haven't traveled with my dad when as an adult. Now that I'm 36 and he's older, I really really want to go on a vacation just with me, him, maybe some of my siblings, or somewhere like 3 weeks, like take 3 or 4 weeks. Go to South America, go to Europe, go somewhere where we just hang out for a month, just me and my dad. That's on my bucket list. I really want that. I want to spend time with him, and sometimes I go visit him. Like I go visit him, every year or every 2 years, and we get to hang out. But it's different, It's different because we're at home, we're chilling. I really want to see him, and he loves to travel. Like my dad's been a huge traveler over his life. Like he's traveled to, I think like 15, 20 different countries.
Oh,
Yeah, my dad's been to like China. He's been to the pyramids in Egypt. He's been to like New Zealand, Australia. He's been to South America. He travels a lot. So I would love to go with him and see him in that element, because sometimes when you travel with people, you see them in a different light than what you've ever seen them before, and just get to hang out with them. Before you answer,
what?
I have a question from you from your good friend, Shovit Gurung. He just asked a question right now. He says, Coach Timon, how's father life treating you?
How's father life treating me?
Yeah. And then he said, what parenting advice would you give him? Ooh.
Oh, yes, both of us.
Where's your baby? Can you go get your baby before?
My baby's upstairs. I'll go get her right now.
All right.
Oh wow. How father life treating me? Father life. Just this last week, 5 people, adults, students, middle school students, high school students, have told me that I officially look like a dad. An adult told me too, and that adult was like,
Told you what again?
that I look like a dad now, that I look like I'm on the older side, I always wanted to be at this moment, but I didn't know it would feel like this,
Because you always look young, huh? Like
yeah,
you
it
had a
was the
young
older
face.
adult. It was Mr. Juanes actually, Coach. It was Mr. Juanes. He was like, "Oh, Timon, you starting to look like the dad now," and he's like, "It happens to all of us. There's a moment you go and you become older." But that's how it's treating me actually. That father life. There's the good, there's the bad, there's the ugly, but at the end of the day, I get to wake up next to my little human that I created, my little daughter. And the funny thing is, I would imagine like when my wife was pregnant, like what my baby would look like, and I would imagine that my baby would exactly look like that, and that's how she turned out. Like it's crazy. I don't know. I was scared that somehow my baby would not turn out to look like me, and then she turned out to look like me, and everybody says she looks like me, and her mom gets really mad and looks at all the years apart, and then she looks at me again, and then she's like, okay, yeah.
Well, you got to think that's kind of messed up on the mom's part because the mom did almost everything. Like, you had your little part in it too, but she had to go through all the pain, and then the baby comes out and doesn't even look like her. It's like, what the heck, man? But I guess if she looks like you, then she looks like someone she loves at least. At least hopefully. You know what? That's weird too, because I don't know if that's just a guy thing or what. or maybe it's I don't, because when my granddaughter was gonna be born, I was like, I hope she looks like my son. Like,
Oh,
I don't
really?
know. Yeah, I was like, I hope she looks like my son, and she did. She came out like literally. I put a picture last time of my son and her when they're around the same age, like identical, like literally like twins almost, except she's a girl and my son's a man, obviously. What advice I would give you is, I would say, especially being a younger father. I mean, you're not. I mean, I was 14, but but when you have your first child, and it's like there's so many things going on, and there's so many fears, and especially where you're at right now, you're like trying to establish yourself in your career. Because of that, you miss out on. You don't remember a lot of the things sometimes when you're in that mode. And so I would say my best advice would be, like, if you journal, or definitely take a lot of pictures, but like maybe every month I would take some time to like highlight, like, what are the top 3 moments that I had, or top 5 moments that I had with my daughter this month, and maybe journal it somewhere, or put it in and like maybe take the pictures. Maybe the pictures would be a better way if you're not a big journaler, and just take the top 3 best pictures of the moments for that month, and then put them somewhere on a file, or print them out. And then that way, when you go back, like before, or when she's growing up and stuff like that, you can go back and be like, oh, I remember that moment. Like, that was a great moment, Oh, I remember this moment. This was a good moment. Because I feel like I don't remember a lot of moments when my son was really young. Like when he was like between 1 and 5, I have some memories of stuff, but not as many, because I was just, like, he lived with me, but things were just kind of, life was going really fast. It was very, very fast things.
I actually did that because that's one of the advice that I got. Like, one thing that I think I did well, and one thing that I learned from like being with you all these over the years is, like, I was never really a person who asked a lot of questions. Like, I just like to figure things out on my own, and then if I mess up really bad, and then I'll start asking questions. But like, before becoming a father, like, I asked everybody like from the Cool Speak, like, and then you all gave me a big list.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember one of the speakers, Lena, she told me to journal, and I have like exact time and dates and notes of written where she was born, how I was feeling. So I still look at it sometimes now, and I'm like, oh, it gives me shivers. So,
Gotta
yeah.
remember those memories. Those are treasures of our lives.
Life.
All right, your friends have a lot of questions about you. I think mainly your
should
friends
ask
on
me.
here, Timon. I know. Just ask him. You all like go hang out with him and invite him to things too. Dinesh and
it's what we
Soviet.
need these days, and
Don't just have events, and just because he's the father, you don't invite him to things anymore. Jeez. All right, Timon. I think that's good. I think this is a good conclusion. This was fun for me. I mean, I don't know. Hopefully, it was informative for everybody else. But we got one last thing to do, and you know what it is, right?
Yes, sir. It is time for the wheel, the virtual wheel. If Dinesh wins, then he's donating it to Thrive.
Yes, I got Dinesh on here. All right, we're gonna spin the wheel for $25. Maybe one of these days we should do crypto, like 0.001 Bitcoin.
By the
But
time you
until
take it
then,
out, it's gonna be negative.
by the time you take it out, you're gonna owe money. All right, let's spin it. Hey, hey, hey. Oh, that's a Husan, but it's Huzna. Sorry, Huzna, I messed up your name. Huzna, are you still there?
How could you? mess
Huzna,
up
are
this?
you? I don't know. I think it's autocorrected. I think it autocorrected. Huzna, are you there? $25 next Wednesday when we see you in Thrive. Congratulations again. I'm sorry I messed up your name. But you won $25. Huzna. All right, y'all. It is a privilege to hang out with y'all. Hopefully you like this first ever episode of Coffee with the Coaches. I think next session we're gonna do is we're gonna have the other coaches, the girl coaches. They're gonna do spilling tea. No, what is it, Timon? Spilling tea while drinking tea or something. Spilling the tea with tea or something like that. I don't know. It'll be them, answering questions and, talking about life, I guess. All right. But until then, Time, is there anything else you'd like to say?
Thank you for joining us. We will see you next time. And the Thrive students, we will see you next week.
Who's not? Congratulations. You won $25. We will give you the money on Wednesday. Congratulations. Have a good weekend, everybody. Bye.
Peace out.